Silver's on the scene. Hope everyone's doing fantastic. Thursday, August 29th. Sebastian Rogers missing over 6 months now. Monday was 6 months reported missing from his home, Hendersonville, Tennessee. Now we're on Thursday, and the FBI has a $50,000 reward, and I think things are starting to heat up. That's good. It's very good. So, the video today, I want to talk about 17 hours. That's right. 17 hours. I want to break down those 17 hours. I want to ask the question, why was it so important to retrieve your RV, Christopher Proudfoot? Your stepson's missing. Your wife is upset. Where is her son? And you find it in your mind an appropriate time to head 240 miles west to retrieve an RV. Why? And why did it take 17 hours? Let's dive in. Here we go. So here we go. Sebastian Rogers, missing, reported missing, February 26, 2024. Gone from his home on Stafford Court, 1008 Stafford Court in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Over 6 months. A few days away from 6 months and a full week. Where is Sebastian Rogers? As you saw in the intro, we're going to discuss 17 hours. 17 hours. The question being, where was CP, Christopher Proudfoot, for 17 hours? We're going to go through basically these 5 W's and 1 H. How you break down and analyze a problem to figure out and come to a conclusion of what may happen. Now, at this point, as you know, allegedly, in my opinion, everything I state here is alleged in my opinion, from my research, from things I've done, to come to a conclusion of what I believe, allegedly in my opinion, may have happened to Sebastian Rogers on February 26, 2024. Now, at this point, let me mention this. The Mob Crew. Take a look at his video, specifically one video. He's been analyzing. You can watch all of them. They're all great. I believe his name is Chris. He's doing a fantastic job. He gave me a shout out last week, I think it was, when it come to the garage lights. And he's just taken the flashlight video and done above and beyond what anyone's ever done. And he keeps adding more details as he's getting in contact with locals/neighbors. So the one from last night I watched, phenomenal. Some really shocking things. I don't want to repeat them here. Watch for yourself. I'll leave a link in the description below. Way to go, Chris. I'm looking forward to more. So he will explain, essentially, in my opinion, how Sebastian got out of the home. What I'm asking here is, where was CP for 17 hours? Okay? So we're going to discuss, and it will be a topic of it as we go through discussing the 17 hours, but when it took place, how it took place, basically your what, where, when, who, why, and how. Okay? So, let's do this. Let's throw this up here. And let's start with what? What we're talking about is when Christopher Proudfoot left the home in Hendersonville, Tennessee to go retrieve or go to get his RV. That's the what. The what is he left his home to go retrieve his RV. Where did this take place? Well, it took place starting in Hendersonville, Tennessee, where he lives at 1008 Stafford Court. And this journey took him 240 miles west to the Memphis, Tennessee area, South Haven, Mississippi, Horn Lake, Mississippi area. When did he do this? He did this the day after. Now stop here and listen for just a moment. When? The day after Sebastian Rogers went missing. According to his own words, and I believe that comes from Smiley's World, great interview she did, credit out to her. He says the 27th. Missing February 26th, that's a Monday. When did he go get the RV? Tuesday, the 27th. Let's stop and think about that for just a moment. You're at work. It's February 26th. It's Monday, start of your work week. You receive a call from your spouse saying, our son is missing. Now, as we all know, the clarification here, Sebastian is Chris's stepson. Katie's biological son, Seth's biological son. So Katie phones in the early morning hours, 6:30 a.m., February 26th, to Chris Proudfoot versus calling 911, and she says, hey, our son's missing. Sebastian's missing. He's not here. 6:30 p.m., Monday, February 26th. Now, let's don't even talk about, because we're focused on the 17 hours, but we'll hit on it for a minute. So Chris then gets off the phone approximately 6:45. By 7 or so, the police are arriving at the Proudfoot home, and we'll discuss the distance on the how. Getting off the phone at 7 a.m., Chris should have arrived at the home no later than 10:30, no later than 11, getting off the construction site and getting going. Chris arrives at 1:30. But we're focused on the 17 hours. So when he arrives at 1:30 on the 26th, sometime 24 hours, 30 hours, I do not know the exact time, but the next day, Tuesday, February 27th, Christopher Proudfoot jumps in his truck and heads west 240 miles to what I believe South Haven, Mississippi, to get his RV from Easy Days RV Park. This RV. Okay? Who? Well, who is real simple. Christopher Proudfoot. Or is it not as simple as we think? In multiple interviews, you will hear Chris answering this question. He always starts with we. I believe in Smiley's interview, she says, who was we? Who helped you take it because she thought it was something you drive? And then he corrects himself and says, no, it was me. I went by myself. It's a fifth wheel. So I unhook it, hook it, and, don't need anyone to go and drive it back. But in at least a couple of interviews, he says we. So who was we? Subconscious, subliminal, we go this, we go that, means nothing. Or Did he honestly have someone, in the vehicle with him? And if so, why? So remember that. Why? Okay, at this point, we want to just put this little cross here and say, why? And I believe that is the topic here. Well, it says where. We know where. We don't know where. But why? We know where he came from and went. Why did he do so? And that question, my friends, is really the topic. Because when we get into the how, we're going to come back to the why. Why did Christopher Proudfoot go retrieve his RV one day after his stepson has been reported missing? One day after, according to their story, he walked out of the front door. One day while people are searching for their son. They're not searching, but people are. One day has passed. What makes a person believe? And someone help me with this. Make a comment. Tell me, explain it to me, because I'm not getting it. Your stepson goes missing one day prior. One day. People are searching for him. According to you, he walked out on his own. What would make you wonder or worry about your RV at all? That's number one. Number two, this is the place you stay for your employment. So if you're in hopes or hopeful that your stepson will come back in that door, be found by someone searching, you could be at work or back to work. This is on Monday, Tuesday. You may be back to work on Friday. So let's logically think about this, okay? You go the very next day and get your RV and you bring it home. The moment you get back home, or maybe the next day, or possibly a few days later on Friday, Sebastian walks back through the front door. Sebastian is found in the woods shivering cold. He got lost. Sebastian was down the street at the neighbor's. Sebastian was here. Sebastian was there. You don't know where he is. You said he walked out the front door. Then why did you go retrieve your RV the very next day? Now, hey, a week later, 2 weeks later, I can start to understand. Hey, construction company, I might have to take some real time off here. We're trying to find our son. But one day, how did he know? How did he know that for the next 3 weeks, he wouldn't need that RV? And that is your why. How did he do it? Well, according to him, it's 3 hours and 37 minutes from doorstep to doorstep. So how did he do it? Let's take a look at how he did it. This is Google Maps, okay? Google Maps. We're going to pull it down here. And we're going to search 1008 Stafford Court, Hendersonville. Anyone can do this. Google Maps. It's free. Easy to do. Proudfoot home, Sebastian's home. We're going to look for directions, okay? We're going to key in. Let's just start with St. Jude's and Memphis. Right, here we go. Boom. We're going to reverse these two because he'll be driving from. So, according to Google, from their home, doorstep home, to St. Jude's is 3 hours, 29 minutes. Now, we all know, 3 hours, 30 minutes. We all know that according to Chris Proudfoot, it's to Nancy Grace, credit Nancy Grace, it's 3 hours, 37 minutes from doorstep to doorstep. Okay, so what if we go over here and we key in, instead of St. Jude's, maybe we key in Yogi Bear, Horn Lake. Here it is. I've been there a few times, so I recognize that address. 3 hours, 44 minutes. Doorstep to doorstep. What if we key in Let's just key in Easy Days RV Park, South Haven. 3 hours, 45 minutes. And then one last, just to get a feel of where we're going here and what we're talking about. And then we're going to get to the real, just Memphis, Tennessee, from his doorstep. 3 hours, 29 minutes. So you see this, depending on where, and if I keyed in more different little places around the area, maybe I'd get my 3 hours, 37 minutes. But that's according to Google Maps. You see it's 229 miles, okay? So let's just go where we believe he was headed that day, and that's here, Easy Days. All right? So it's 244 miles on your fastest route. And that's the one it picks. 244, 3 hours, 45 minutes. Now, all right, ladies and gentlemen, let's do some math. Okay? Let's do some simple. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to bring this over here so we can see him as we do this math. Let's do some math. 244 miles divided by 80 miles an hour. Why do I choose 80 miles an hour? Because it's a 70 mile an hour zone on this I-40. And we all know that the state troopers are okay with us about 10 miles over. And let me tell you, be careful out there. The way some people drive, they're doing 90 and 100 all day long. Believe me, I travel a lot. I see it a lot. My goodness. Sometimes I just set it at 70 and just chill the best I can. But for the most part, 80 is normal, is average. Well, ladies and gentlemen, 3 times 80 is 240. Let's throw in an extra 5 minutes for the 4 miles. So it is easily done in 3 hours. Now, that's me just sitting here doing some math. But what do I know? Let's throw this back up here. What, where, when, who, why, how? What? Silvers drove this route. He's driven it 4 times. Twice over from Hendersonville, twice over from Memphis. Where? Just told you. When? Multiple weeks ago, several different times. With who? Himself and Silvers too. Why? For exactly what we're talking about. How long does it really take? How? I drove it. Now, one of my videos I shared that over the course of the time, it was a 5-hour drive. We stopped, we ate, we did some videos along the way of what we thought may have happened at like the Speedway in Jackson, Tennessee. But I kept track of my time. 3 hours later, I was in Hendersonville with no rush, no worry. But that's okay. That's okay. That's 3 hours. I'm still going to give Christopher Proudfoot, I'm going to give him 3.5 hours. Okay, so 3.5 hours to drive over. That's the how. And 3.5 hours to drive back, right? So we're still doing some math. So let's keep this up here because we're still doing some math. And here it is. He had 17 hours, and we're getting to the question now. Where was he, and what did he do in those 17 hours? So he leaves his home, and we just discovered he has a 3.5 hour drive. You know what? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm feeling generous tonight. I'm going to give him 4 hours. We see it says 3:45. We know that it could be 3 hours. I'm going to give him 4 hours. So he takes off and he leaves, and he has a 4-hour drive. He makes it to Easy Days. And we know that when he's ready to come back after he's hooked up the RV and driving back, it's another 4 hours. Give him another 4 hours. So that's what? Let's do some math. 4 plus 4 is 8. 17 minus 8 is 9. So now he has 9 hours left. So what does it take to hook up a fifth wheel? Let me state this. There's no allegedly. Well, it is all allegedly in my opinion because I've never done it. I would think you bolt down some things, you unhook from the thing. Maybe you go in and tell them you're not going to be staying anymore. You settle your bill, which I believe this was paid up through March, but neither here nor there. And then maybe another hour of actually hooking it. Now, you can comment and tell me it takes 3 hours. We'll go that route too, but I think 2 hours. So 4 hours over, 4 hours back, 2 hours to physically do everything. You have 10 hours, right? 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 2 is 10. 7 hours are left, Chris Proudfoot. What were you doing, or where were you during those 7 hours? So I'm going to scratch another hour off, simply because maybe it takes 3 hours to hook up, the unhook and hook up and pay your bill and all that. So we'll leave it with 6 hours. Now, if you ask Christopher Proudfoot in an interview, he will say in his own words that he laid down and slept, that he did not feel it was safe after driving over 4 hours, after unhooking and hooking, that it was safe to drive back in the same day. Okay, so here's what I say to that. First of all, thank you for your safety. I appreciate that. Safety is a real concern. I appreciate that. However, tell me if I'm wrong, if the day before this, your wife's son went missing, your stepson. So you're telling me that one day after, you up and leave your wife, who is grieving, her heart's broken, she's grief-stricken, where is my son? You're going to leave her alone to go get your RV. So that leads me back to this. Why? Why would you do that? Why would she be okay with you doing that? Silvers, too, is a very patient woman. I love her to death. I believe we have a great relationship. We've been married a long time. We've been together a long time. And if we were in this situation and I ignored her saying, can you send someone else to get the RV? Can you just leave it? Can you call and pay for it another week? He may be home in a few days. Ladies and gentlemen, when you talk about the math, it doesn't add up to leave your grief-stricken wife while her son's missing. So 17 hours. We know he's had plenty of time to drive over, drive back, unhook, hook the RV up. My guess would be, and I'm going to give a 3 hour there, 4, 4, and 3, is what? 11 hours. It's a 12-hour day. He doesn't work 12-hour days from time to time. You wake up at 7 or 8 and you don't go to bed till 10 that night. I mean, we do 12-hour days all the time. So I do not buy the fact, allegedly in my opinion, I do not buy the fact that he laid down and peacefully slept in his RV while his wife's grieving at home. That's the other thing. Silvers, too, you did what? You left me here all night while you just peacefully slept while our son's missing? So it doesn't add up. Back to the math. It does not add up. Okay? So when you look at these, what? He went and got the RV. Where? Easy Days Park. When? 27th of February. Who? Himself, allegedly. He says we. How and why are your last two. How? Physically, we know he drove over, he got it, and he brought it back. But why? Could be one of the biggest questions if Christopher Proudfoot would accept my multiple requests for a live interview face-to-face. That could be my main question. Hey, if I only get one question, Christopher Proudfoot, why? Now, he's going to tell you, I don't know. He thought his job was up in the air. He's not going to be there. This is after telling you that he pays in advance for the RV, in a month advance. I'm going to work for 3 months. I'll pay all 3 months, or at least once a month. This was the 26th, 27th he goes back. This was leap year. He had 2 more days paid. Sebastian could have come home in those 2 days. Think about this. You come back on the 20. Well, I guess he came back on the 28th since he spent the night and slept and relaxed. Come back on the 28th. What happens if Sebastian comes back on the 29th? Later that day on the 28th. Or like I said earlier, you get back home and he's there. Then what do? You turn back around and drive all the way back. Hey, I'm back to work. Along with Christopher Proudfoot saying, too, that his job was up in the air. Then 19 minutes later, no, I'm going back to work. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have to ask this question. Where was he? And I don't even think we have to say where was he for 17 hours. We can say, being very lenient, where was he for 6 hours? What did he do for 6 hours versus coming back home? I actually think it's more like 8, but I'm being lenient on the extra half hour over there and back, making it 4 one-way hours, and I'm being lenient on the hookup. I'm going to tell you something. Christopher Proudfoot seems like the kind of guy that could probably unhook and rehook up that trailer in less than an hour. Okay? And let's do that. Let's go 3 hours over, 3 hours back, unhook, hook in an hour. You're only dealing with 7 hours. You got 10 more, my friend. So anywhere between 6 hours and 10 hours are unaccounted for. And he will not tell us, oh, he took a sleep. It doesn't make sense. Because if he says to me, I took a nap, I laid down, I got some rest, then my very next question is, how did Katie feel about that? Her son's missing. Your stepson's missing. And you're just, no worries. Let me take a sleep. Let me get a good rest. Finally get a good rest rather than dealing with all this. Oh my. So anyway, so that's what we wanted to accomplish here. We went through, we wanted to see what was he doing for 17 hours? Why? Why? It just does not make sense. As is most of the things that he says. They just do not make sense. And meanwhile, this boy is missing. Gone. I believe Monday was 182 days. So 183, 184, 185 days, ladies and gentlemen. Before we know it, we'll be in 7 months. However, let's stay positive. If I know one thing, I know, let's do some math, right? What do I know? You cannot move forward if you roll around negative. So let's remain positive. Let's get his awareness out. We have a 50,000. Let's look at all the positives. Okay, the first thing is Sebastian's missing. And I want to make a statement here. Not one YouTube creator, not one YouTube subscriber, not one watcher, not one poster of the flyer, not one person searching, no one caused this boy to go missing. Last seen with his mom, I don't have her photo here to throw up, Katie Proudfoot. And I'm sure he knows as well. We didn't cause Sebastian to go missing. We're trying to find him. Okay? We're trying to find him. We're trying to bring awareness. So let's continue to speak his name. Let's continue to throw it out there. This is where the positives come, right? The positives. $50,000 reward. You ever have that friend? They don't want to go somewhere with you, and you say, hey, I'll pay for your lunch. I'll pay for your ticket. I'll pay for your dinner. And boom, they jump up and they're ready to go. I have. I've been that person at times, right? Shouldn't take $50,000 for people to go out and look. But hey, we've got it positive. So keeping the awareness up, okay? And keeping his face out there. Thumbnails like this. Flyers like this. Saying his name, Sebastian Rogers. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I hope, I wish, and I hope that all of my theories are incorrect. That this gentleman here, that his wife, his mom, did no harm, because I believe they did, so allegedly in my opinion, but did no harm, whether that's accidentally or purposefully, planned or unplanned, did no harm to this boy. And that if they had anything to do with it, they're hiding him somewhere. And he's alive and well, eating snacks, playing video games, just loving life. And if by some crazy way someone else is involved, not these two, and he was taken, I still hope he's alive and well. So I hope I'm wrong. Maybe that interview is when they get to tell me, Silver's on the scene, you were wrong. I'll take it, as long as he's found and returned home safely, especially if he's alive. So, keep the awareness going. Ask these questions. Where was this guy for 17 hours? He had more than enough time to get back, and be with his wife during this tough, unusual moment. This hasn't ever happened to them before. In my opinion, allegedly in my opinion, an RV, it's a material thing. You're paid up. You can make a payment from Hendersonville. Either on the phone, I'm sure, or make a phone call. Here, take my payment. I'll put it down for another month. My son's missing. I got to find him. Doesn't make sense. It has never made sense. And allegedly, in my opinion, and I don't fault police officers or law enforcement for this, I have to put myself in their shoes, in their head at the moment this was going on. They, in my opinion, believed the boy actually walked out. Sebastian walked out. And that's what they were focused on. That's why the opportunity arose for this guy to jump on it and get back there before they started looking at other possibilities. And by the time they did, whatever he did in those 17 hours has been done. So our job now is to keep this awareness alive so we can find him, and whatever he did, allegedly in my opinion, we undo. Let's find Sebastian Rogers. Let's bring him home. And as we know, we do that 3-step. We keep the awareness alive. I want to shout out to every YouTube creator. I want to shout out to every TikTok poster, Facebook poster, groups, Instagram, people who've told their friends and family. My sister is in on this case now. She's very intrigued, and you think Silver's on the scene, and by the way, my name is Michael. I'll just throw that out there. When I was watching Chris last night on the Mob Crew, I'm like, he's the Mob Crew, but his name is, my name is Michael. Some of you know this already through email communication, so you can address me as Michael if you like. But Silver's here. Michael, his sister is even more kind-hearted than him, right? A very nice woman. She's just a great mother, great wife, great person. She's a great person. And she's really saddened for this boy being missing. And it's my awareness that's brought her into it. So there's another set of eyes, ladies and gentlemen. And that's how we do it. So a shout out to all these creators, to all these content creators, putting this boy's face up there. Whatever you're talking about, whatever ideas come in your head, whatever theories, get out there and talk about it so we can just share the awareness, okay? And I would urge this. I would urge all the creators to stick together. The purpose and the goal for all this is to find this boy. That's the focus. Keep the awareness alive so we can find him. And then when we do, what do we do, folks? What do we do? Let's get him home. Let's get him safe. Let's get him, allegedly, in my opinion, laid to rest if that's the case. And then we get justice. We get justice for Sebastian Rogers because he deserves it. And we serve it up cold to any and everyone who may have harmed him. So if you know something, say something. If you have something, show it. Let's solve this, bring this boy home, get closure for Seth Rogers so he can sleep peacefully. I'll stop a minute and I remember when he said, it's been like one continuous day. I cannot imagine. As a father and a grandfather, I cannot imagine. So, thank you for your support. Thank you for your time. Keep the awareness alive. Let's find them. Let's bring justice and get justice for Sebastian. Hit me up with some comments. What do you think where he was in 17 hours? What are your theories? Shoot me an email. Let's solve this together as a community and bring this boy home. Thank you. Have a great evening. And as always, Silver's on the scene. Stay tuned. More to come. Thank you.